Welcome back to the Takeout. In a Florida special election, Democrats flipped a state house seat in a district that includes President Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate. Emily Gregory won the seat that went Republican by 19 points in 2024. The catch? President Trump voted by mail in that election, a method that he has criticized. Let's bring in our political panel now. Democratic strategist Kendra Barkoff Lamy, who is the former press secretary to Vice President Joe Biden, and Doug Heye, former communications director of the RNC. Kendra, first, how did Emily Gregory do this? How'd she flip the seat?
Look, I think we're seeing what we saw last night all across America. I think that Republicans are sending a message that they don't like Democrats are sending a message that they don't like what's happening with Trump's policies. And so I think this is not just her. I don't think it's an isolated special election. I think we saw things in Texas where there was a state Senate, somebody else flipped. So I don't think this is a one-off. I think this is a cumulative factor that people are not liking high gas prices. They are going to the polls and saying enough is enough.
Doug, in your case, do you see this as an anomaly? And also, as we pointed out, the president voted by mail, yet he's pushing legislation and wants to see Congress, put more restrictions on mail-in voting. So is there a little bit of hypocrisy going on here?
Well, I think we always tend to overrate what special elections mean. They really come down to the candidates and the circumstances of that district. The fact that it's the Mar-a-Lago district means Democrats are going to claim, and should, a huge feather in their cap. But we always look at this in a partisan lens of, if we win, it means everything. If we lose, it means nothing. The vote by mail, though, I'm old enough to remember when Republicans did really well with vote by mail. We would crush Democrats. My first and second campaigns in North Carolina, vote by mail is why we won those races. And for Republicans to fall in line with Trump on this is really short-sighted, especially now that he's using it himself.
Yeah, and I want to read a statement that we just got in from the White House. If we can pull that up, it says, President Trump has said the Save America Act has common sense exceptions for Americans to use mail-in ballots for illness, disability, military, or travel, but universal mail-in voting should not be allowed because it's highly susceptible to fraud.
It just isn't. And again, I go back to races I worked on, Republican races, where aggressive vote-by-mail efforts, what we would call an absentee ballot chase. We would send you a ballot, absentee ballot, and we would chase you down until you returned it. And we would know every day who would return those ballots. Was highly effective for us, and just very short-sighted for Republicans to fall in line on this. They've really lost something that was a huge advantage for them in the past.
I want to turn to the latest with respect to the ongoing Department of Homeland Security shutdown. How do we get out of this? Kendra, I'm going to start with you. Democrats, the ball was in their court. They put an offer forth, but, Republicans aren't really willing to entertain it.
If I could say how we got out of this, I would probably not be here. I would probably be in a different job. But look, what I will say is Americans are sick of partisanship across the board. And this is a problem whereby TSA agents are having to go and donate blood in order to make ends meet. Like, we are in a place of really bad bickering, and somebody's going to have to blink first. I do believe that they should vote for a clean bill and keep ICE out. I am toting the Democratic line, and Trump needs to step forward and say, okay, we'll do this and then we'll come back to everything else. But I think Americans are sick of the bickering, and they are sick of all of this, and I think it'll reflect in the election.
But the White House and Republicans have, it seems, tried to meet Democrats halfway here. They have made some concessions. Why don't you think Democrats are going for this, or is it just a trust issue?
It is probably a trust issue, but I also think just vote to get TSA back, and then they'll move forward on other things. I know that Democrats have put that on the floor a number of occasions, and Republicans won't do that. So if Republicans really cared about, the TSA piece of it, they would vote for that and then negotiate on everything else. But Republicans also don't want to lose their leverage in this bill.
Even the president, though, has seemed kind of hesitant. I know he said the other day, I don't know that I'd be happy with anything that they, come up with a deal with. But that being said, what do you make of the way that Republicans are handling this? And do you think the president does need to get more involved here?
Well, there's a big difference between Senate Republicans and the president on this. They think they can get to a deal, and Trump says no. And we've seen that happen several times. It's interesting that some Republicans are now saying that privately. And I remember, Nicole, in 2013, during that shutdown, I would call Kendra Barkoff and say, how do we get out of this? And the reason that we would struggle to get out of it is for the very word she used, blink. If any side really makes an approachment to the other side on how to get out of this, it's going to be Republicans blinked or Democrats blink. And their base does not want blinking. They want fighting.
Is this a new normal?
It is the long time normal. It's not new anymore. We've seen this play out time and time again. It just gets more intense each time.
All right, Doug, Heye, Kendra, Barkoff, Lamy, we thank both of you for being with us.